Spoil Mom for Mother's Day. Visit berries.com, click the microphone, and type code RT News to send her flowers and freshly dipped strawberries for $39.99. Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins, and recently Bungie invited Rooster Teeth to visit the studio and learn more about Destiny. Yesterday, we talked a bit about character creation and progression, which you can learn more about by clicking here, and today we'll go over everything we know about the gameplay and modes. Destiny is an ambitious undertaking for Bungie, introducing not only a persistent online world to their well-known multiplayer action formula, but an RPG-based class system. But during this event, they stressed that they want players to know that this remains an action game before anything else. Investment lead Tyson Green tells us, as it evolved, as it developed and firmed up, and we're talking years ago, we really said, okay, first and foremost, we're making a first-rate action game. We have a reputation to live up to, and so that's really what we're conscious about delivering. As such, they're committed to delivering several different gameplay modes: patrols, cooperative strikes, competitive multiplayer, high-level raids, public events, and of course the story missions that tie the world together. Bungie's head of community, Eric Osborne, explains how some of these modes work.
So a strike is sort of, it's about 15 to 30 minutes of like intense arcade action. So you go in there with two of your friends as a fire team of 3, or you can matchmake into them. They typically begin in a public space, so you can sort of roam around and explore. You can have a public event, see other players going off on a different strike or maybe a story mission. But then once you get into the strike proper, it becomes private. And so you go through these very crafted, really fun waves of enemies. We'll mix and match. So in the strike that we're showing up, Den of Devils, you'll fight Fallen and Hive. They'll fight each other. We add narrative element, so the ghost is guiding you through, giving you really good dialogue. It's Peter Dinklage, so it sounds really awesome. He adds a lot of gravitas to the scene. And then they culminate in these really epic boss battles. Patrol is a little more freeform. So Patrol is, if you want to take missions from the city factions, there are communication spikes around the world, you can go pick them up on the fly. You don't have to if you just want to go fight enemies, upgrade your gear, maybe warm up for some competitive multiplayer. Maybe you're waiting for some people to come online and you just want to roam around. You can sort of dig deeper into the world and discover Easter eggs, go on little hunts, secrets, look for treasure chests. It's really just sort of like we built this big, beautiful world, and some of the activities like the story drive you through a bright line through the world. But we wanted to sort of, take the waypoints away and let people just go and roam and explore these spaces.
During the studio visit, we played a strike mission called the Devil's Lair as each of the 3 available classes. These missions seem like the Destiny equivalent of a traditional co-op level, with corridors followed by wide open areas and waves of different types of enemies who occasionally turn on each other as well when they come across different factions. We also noted openings that the developers told us led off to other areas, though they'd been blocked off for the purposes of the demo, and there were dozens of these, so the strikes may be less linear than what we've experienced. While playing, we also got a look at public events, which Gavin stumbled on accidentally. Here was his take on running across one of these random events for the first time.
We also ran across a public event, which was just basically a random spawn, very tough enemy that spawns, and then you have a countdown timer, which is how long you have to dispose of the enemy. And it's kind of a group thing. Yeah. All your friends need to get involved, because if you fight it one-on-one, it's pretty difficult. I was there shooting it.
You tried, right? Like you were trying to take it on one-on-one.
I didn't know what it was, so I interacted with him and started this event. I was like, oh god, and his health was just skimming off. And then you guys came and helped me, and we got rid of him pretty quick. But
yeah, it's cool. It's a little bit like a randomly generated mini boss.
Yeah, just randomly in the middle of the level. I found him in a pipe.
Bungie is renowned for their prowess in multiplayer following their work on the Halo series, but unfortunately for us, they're keeping that one in their pocket until E3, though Osborne does say,
so PvP is super important. Player versus player stuff is something we have a rich legacy in. There's a lot of competitive people here. We like the competitive games. I think the funny thing when we look back, like Halo CE was designed to be a party game. So first and foremost, it was like, it's just stupid fun, right? You can just turn off the week, forget about your 9 to 5 and just have a blast with your friends, right? And so we absolutely want that aspect. We want it to be really fun and really engaging, and we don't have to like, oh, it's this super grave story stuff. It's like, no, just go in there and have a blast, have a beer, have some fun. But it absolutely can be super competitive, and we'll do some things to, separate out the really fun stuff from the really intense. Like now it's white knuckle, now skill and honor and glory are on the line. So.
As you play through the different missions and level up your character, you may find you need to replay some of these to harvest enough materials to upgrade your weapons, or to get a better iteration of a weapon drop you weren't pleased with. Many weapons, particularly those found early on in the game, are likely to have a greater variety in their stats and may come with different abilities, though that won't be as prevalent for late-game weapons, particularly exotic weapons, since they'll require some hard work to obtain and their stats will be more uniform as a result. And throughout all of this, you're likely to find yourself dying every now and again. While some games aim to punish you for this kind of failure, Bungie prefers to encourage players to experiment and try risky new ways to play. Green explains, "We don't want to punish people for playing an encounter differently or experimenting, and we didn't want to discourage that kind of gameplay by saying, oh yeah, when you die, you lose 10% of your glimmer. That just wasn't exciting for us. Instead, while you may lose a bit of time and progress through a mission, you won't have to worry about going broke or losing your hard-earned equipment." That's it for now. If you missed our primer on character creation and progression, click here, and tomorrow we'll talk more about the social aspects of the game and what's possible playing solo. To make sure you get all the biggest updates in video games and entertainment, click like and subscribe, and we'll keep you in the know.